So if you're paying attention at all, you're probably hearing a lot about a virus that you maybe haven't heard too much about in the past called RSV, or respiratory syncytial virus. So this video is going to bring you through some of the basics about that and some bigger picture information. I'm Dr. Patty Barch. I'm a traditional naturopath and owner of Naturally Unbridled Wellness in Onalaska, Wisconsin. The information presented here is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prescribe for any disease or condition. These statements have not been approved by the FDA. That is basically funded by private industry. Anyway, please consult your healthcare provider when making wellness choices. So let's talk about RSV. So RSV is respiratory syncytial virus. It's been around forever, super common. Most people get this virus when they're a tiny baby, like little babies to little toddlers will typically get RSV. And once they have it, they typically have good immunity to it for the rest of their life. Their body, their brilliant immune system remembers what it is and how to fight it off. But it can be serious in tiny babies. That being said, what's interesting is that we are actually hearing about more and more cases of this virus in older children and adults, which is practically unheard of. But it makes sense to me in the grand scheme of things. So we know that the popular virus of the past 3 years has a negative impact on the immune system, meaning it suppresses the immune system after infection. So it's very common for people who have come down with that virus to have a weakened immune system for a period of time after that infection. It takes a little while for your immune system to bounce back from that and to be resilient and be able to fight off new viruses and to keep latent viruses in check. So we are definitely seeing increases of people who have gotten that popular infection, and then within a short period of time after that, they get another kind of virus, maybe a latent virus like the shingles virus pops up, or seeing a lot of chronic fatigue syndrome popping up, exacerbation of Lyme disease, which is a bacterial infection, we're even seeing things like cancers and that sort of thing, because the immune system will help to control that as well. So that's part of the issue is that we're seeing is that virus has weakened the immune system, preventing the body from being able to effectively recognize infected cells with this other virus, the RSV virus, and to be able to fight that off. So that being said, we're not completely vulnerable. There's plenty of things we can do to support our immune system. So you're not allowed to say those things on social media. But there's a whole bunch of vitamins, minerals, herbs, homeopathic remedies, having an anti-inflammatory diet, staying well hydrated, getting plenty of sleep, having a spiritual practice, like all of these things can support the immune system, and certainly getting out there and getting fresh air and movement are all very beneficial. So I anticipate that we're going to see something that we've kind of seen this trend. So we saw the whole monkeypox thing popped up a few months ago, and I remember I get emails from the government organizations that keep track of diseases in the country. I'm on their email list, and I remember seeing an email come through about monkeypox and that there was one case in the United States. And like within a week, there was it was all you were hearing about. I'm like, they went from one case to like, holy crap, in a week. And then there was an emergency use or an state of emergency, right? Emergency situation for monkeypox. And so when they institute the emergency situation, they say, oh, this is a medical emergency case in this country, then they get to skip a bunch of steps for drug approval and get drugs or experimental products into people without going through the regular steps. So I'm anticipating that because of the uptick supposedly in the RSV, that we're going to see emergency use authorization come through for some experimental products for that. And if you want to know my opinion on those experimental products, I got about 20-30 videos in the files that you guys can watch. So in our office, some things that can be helpful, we have a homeopathic remedy called bronchial cough. So RSV, the pathology of it results in something called bronchiolitis. So the airways in the lung, it's like trachea, bronchi, bronchial, alveoli, like smaller fractals. And the homeopathic remedy called bronchial cough can really help with those kind of chesty cough symptoms. So there's definitely a lot of congestion that can happen with this virus, and that mucus is a problem because when the mucus is sludging up the lungs, oxygen transfer can't happen, and their oxygen level can drop, and the mucus can be so thick that they can't cough it up. So of course it depends on the size of the human body, right? What we can do with that little baby, but that N-acetylcysteine or NAC, some people call it NAC, that is really great for breaking up mucus. The herb myrrh, we have an herbal formula here called myrrh intrinsic. That can be really good for breaking up mucus. Sambucus, which is elderberry, is really good for mucus as well. And we have a product here called Immunoberry that's formulated for kids that has the elderberry in it, along with some medicinal mushrooms and a few other things in there to help with the immune system. So there's definitely, and we've got more things beyond that. I'm not going to name them all off here, but we definitely have some things on hand that can be helpful in supporting a body through that kind of infection. Another thing that I'm hearing is that's being really helpful is to go into a salt cave. If you've never heard of that, it's basically a room that's surrounded by Himalayan salt. Very often there's bricks of salt on the walls, and then a big beach of salt on the floor, and the electrons from that salt can really be helpful for respiratory issues. I know there is a place in La Crosse I think it's called Salt Fix Vitality Center, that you can go in there and you just sit in the room and breathe for half an hour or something. But that can also be very beneficial. So it is, the time of year where people are spending more time inside, and that means we're closer together, less fresh air, vitamin D levels drop because we're not out in the sunshine as much. People tend to be eating a highly inflammatory diet. Don't think that it's a coincidence that this RSV thing kicked off right after Halloween. We get these kids all hyped up on sugar, get them all inflamed, weaken their immune system, and then viruses go rampant. So, maintaining an anti-inflammatory diet can be really supportive of immune health as well. So I just wanted to bring you through some basics about the respiratory syncytial virus to let you know that, in most cases, it's not something that's very severe, but it can be in specific cases. But it's very treatable, and there are things that you can do at home to support a body in transitioning through that infection, and then hopefully being able to remember it and fight it off for the rest of your life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, you can, if you're watching this on youtube.com/naturallyunbridled, you can like and subscribe so that you're notified whenever I post new content. So thanks for watching. Please feel free to share. Have a healthy day, peeps.